Hello, everybody. Welcome back to this podcast after 6 months, much longer than what we thought, of taking a pause that was very well required to reshape identities, flow in new creations, relate differently, and dive into the theme that we're actually going to speak about today, which is shedding old identities in times of big transitions and also in big times of energies transitions with these eclipses that we are in right now. So, hi, Karine.
Hi,
Super
Jen.
happy to have you back
Yes.
here.
We couldn't believe it that it had been 6 months. Actually, we looked at the calendar and we were like, "What? 6 months? Where did time go?" But yeah, a lot of work and a lot of fun, and now we're back in this new phase. So I'm
Yes,
happy to be here.
yes, my heart feels grounded and it feels calm, and I'm very excited to see what wants to come through for the audience today on this theme.
Yeah, so just before we came on, we were talking about the eclipse and how these big energies are moving through us, really down to earth. How do we deal with that? Because we're human, we're affected by those energies, and sometimes it can be overwhelming. So I was really curious to know, how do you navigate that?
Yes. Well, first of all, and I'm going to give really the concrete things that I'm doing this week because it's hitting me like it's hitting anybody, of course. And there was a strong call to isolate. Now, when I say isolate, it's not something negative. It's actually cut off the noise. It's actually telling myself, okay, here is a portal. Here is an opportunity. I'm feeling the energies. A lot of things are moving in me. And instead of allowing this energy to create scatteredness or diverge my energy everywhere, I'm like, no, this is precious. So it comes with this intention first, right? With an intention that it's an opportunity to take the energy in and to allow it to work through us. So that's the first thing, right? The why. Then from the why, I navigated my nights differently. So first of all, the nights were waking me up very early, like 1 a.m., 2 a.m. And I was not entering panic then. I know a lot of people are having insomnia right now. So how to not panic when you're waking up in the middle of the night. I was working with spirits. So maybe this feels like a bit woo for some people, but let's talk about like more energies or more like higher guidance. And to be sensitive to this, if we are awake in the middle of the night, sometimes and most of the time, it's because there's data coming into our nervous system. And it requires our presence and our attention to first listen, create enough space to listen, but also for our nervous system to integrate the potential, the light frequency that's coming with this. And this is what I was doing when I was waking up. Even this morning, I was awake at 1:30 and I'm doing this. I'm with the data, I'm listening, I'm with my nervous system, feeling my breath, and I'm with also open questions. What are you here to tell me? If I'm in decision making, I put myself in the situation of the decision and I'm like, okay, body, how are you making this decision now? What needs to be let go of in my identity? And it's a body process, so I won't go into all the details of it, but there's a process where you welcome this in, you integrate the cell, you integrate this light in the cells by being really intimate with the sensation in your body. And this we can dive into the the embodiment practice and the body temple. And from there you actually feel, okay, if I take the decision left, well, my body feels calm. Or my body, if I take the decision right, my body feels super like in panic. And there's discernment in this. There's discernment on what sensation is what is ego death for real, or what is soul essence guiding us to something deeper. And there's discernment. What else do? I journal. So
Mm.
journaling, open questions, like just allowing to the pen to write and free write practices in the body to make sure that I'm grounded and also shutting out the noise. So social media is shut down as much as I can, and relationships, even intimate relationships, and like saying, hey, this week, like I really need space. and yes, taking space from the noise, not
Mm.
overwhelming my nervous system by external stimulation. And yes, so it's really around this meditation, like I said.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And it's a, as usual, it's a practice, like just maybe start with one or two of these practices if people listening are not, as used to that. But I also journal. Journaling for me is a key into, yeah, integrating, because I sometimes feel that writing it down furthers the integration. So yeah, it's really key, also, for me. Yeah. And we're talking about shedding identities, and you spoke a bit about the ego. And one of the question that keeps popping up, like for me, and I'm pretty sure like many people have that, is like, how do we know if it's the ego talking or if it's our soul's voice? And you spoke a bit about that, but maybe you have more keys or more insights on that.
Yeah. It's a big topic. It requires like really being attuned and fine tuning our body tempo, our instrument, because it really is an instrument. So we have to be clear that this is the path that we're choosing, intimacy with the body. Because to listen to the keynotes, we want the space to listen, right? We want the
Mm.
space to listen. So when I speak about the keynotes or the music inside of us, I speak about the soul songs, right? What's how to differentiate the soul song versus the noise of the mind, and both coexist. And that's the thing. Sometimes the noise of the mind is so strong that you think this is the wisdom of your body speaking, but
Mm.
it's a layer of the wisdom. In this layer of wisdom that the body is saying, the body will speak in terms of needs, in terms of desires. It will speak in terms of boundaries, in terms of yes and no, like I was saying, the decision making. It will give you sensations. It will give you, okay, a deep exhale. It will give you, oh, my heart feels calm right now. It will give you signs like overwhelming emotions, right? The body will speak like this. Most of the time when it's an ego death, we find a resistance in the body, and behind this we find a knowing. So it's like it says, the soul will say, no honey, your step right now is to, let's say, stay at home with your kid. I'm giving an example.
Yeah.
The ego will say, no, I cannot do this. I want to work. I want to connect with this person. My career is taking off, blah blah blah. But the soul whispers, no, this is your step karmically. This is your step. This is something you need to address as your soul question. And this is when we can differentiate like an action coming from the ego or an action coming from the soul. So a forced action rather than a powerful action, an organic action that I call. The organic action will most of the time not necessarily feel like it's pushing something. It's going to be like even manifested. There's going to be a reflection of your deeper prayer in front of you, and it's a matter of saying yes. Now, the mind has also prayers, but it's a projection. It's not the same thing as a vibration of a prayer. So when we say we manifest, we always manifest from the deep space of prayer, from the deep space of even subconscious desires that we have. The mind and the ego projects out. It's like planning the future, comparing to the past. It's like clack, clack, clack. I have my safety. This is what I'm doing. This is the plan. This is how I'm going to be recognized. This is how I'm going to be proud of myself. It has a speech to it. When it's the soul, it doesn't have a speech to it. It has a peace to it. And the peace is behind the ego. So that's why I say it's so important to fine tune our instrument, because with the space, we're going to feel the peace. behind the chit chat of the ego that will say, I'm scared of this, or the body that says, oh my gosh, I'm so congested, like, no, 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 that's only the resistance in the matter. But it doesn't mean that it's the false step to follow the voice of the song and of the prayer. Now, I know that maybe for some of you who are listening, it's very advanced, but maybe for some of you who have been practicing for a while, you can really recognize these symptoms in the
Mm.
body. And and I've been on this path for what, very, very consciously 15 years. And even for me, it's difficult sometimes. Like this week, it's been, when I say difficult, it's like with so much gratitude, but it hasn't been easy to listen to what is the right step. So that's
Mm.
why I was taking all this space to be, no, I'm not going to force with my mind projections and what my mind makes me think this is the right step. What, soul, please talk to me. What have I been avoiding on my path? Where is my edge? Where is my nervous system going to integrate lessons that I've, God knows, maybe avoiding for my whole life? And this is what I'm addressing this week. This is why I'm saying this. It's very, very, very deep stuff. And as
Mm.
I'm surrendering to this voice of the soul, corresponding to a deep wound in my body also, right? Because there's it's also a healing process. What I find that's being anchored more and more in me is peace. There's a relief. And even as I'm sharing this, I'm taking a deep breath.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I can continue, but that's that's how I'm operating it.
Yeah, for sure. And oh, wow, it's so interesting. And I like what I'm getting from what you're saying is that also I think that we have to be mindful of the ego, like in a way that's um it's not to be dismissed. It's there. It's there for a reason. And I like the way you talked about it, because it's a tangible thing. It's you feel it in your body. I love that you said, okay, when you feel some resistance. And also the bit that really spoke to me was that I think for me the ego is really about planning. And we can see, it has a great vision, and it's gonna go like this, do 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 do. And life is like, in nature it's not like that. So like what you said, for me what comes up is that the more we connect to nature in the way that we create, the more we're true to ourselves.
Yeah.
It's like a tree. When you plant the seed, it doesn't know how it's going to go. It's going to be a tree, but you don't really know the form, or the final form, or what we think we know about the final
Yeah.
form of a tree. So I don't know if that speaks to you, and if you want to say something more about that.
Yeah, I mean, for me, when I refer to ego, I refer to actions taken by fears, from fear,
Mm.
whether it's a conscious fear or a subconscious fear. When I speak, like, from the soul has vibrations that are very high frequency,
Mm.
like deep intrinsic joy and peace, gratitude. And, like nature, you're right. It's not anchored in fear. And the truth about an organic path is, how can I surrender in my own nature, in my true nature? And this true nature, all the plan per se is already encrypted. This nature knows how to grow.
Mm.
For what? To give fruits. That's
Mm.
why when nature grows a tree. It's to give fruits, or it's to re-give to the earth. It has its role in the ecosystem. It's not different for us. If when we surrender to our nature, to, let's say, our soul frequency, our soul codes, our design, to the higher currents of love, we are by nature propelled into our fruits, into offering our fruits. And through this, there is a death of ego, a death of fear. There is a shedding of identity to be anchored in new identities because we are still a form. We need
Mm.
an identity. We're not here to be enlightened and like think, like go live on a mountain. That's not the point. And all the parts that live inside of us, they have their value, they have their role within our own inner orchestra. It's they're inner aspects, they're aspects of our personalities that all have desires and needs, and we need also to welcome them all because they're all part of your gifts. What we call ego is when this essence as an aspect of your design, we inflame it into fear, and then it becomes super tensed, but it's not really transmitting the pure fruit. It's transmitting a shot fruit. Like it's like it has like it has pesticides on it. You know what I mean? I'm joking a bit, but you take this persona, you shed layers of non-authentic actions and thoughts. You just bring this to the essence. The essence of it has the fruits. It has the transmission. And the soul, this is how it speaks. It brings you to the essence of who
Mm.
you are and you transmit from who you are.
Yeah, and it seems so simple
It
when you
seems
say it
so
like that.
simple. I know. Come on, whoever's listening, it's a devotion. It is a devotion. We have to laugh. But honestly, and from my heart, really, the devotion piece comes natural when you see that um I'm gonna say the price to pay, it's not to be scared of it, it's just there's so much benefits moving from the soul space, and it is challenging. It really asks a lot of courage, it asks a lot of surrender, a lot of being comfortable in the unknown, a lot of blank pages every day. And that's why I often say also it requires a grounded nervous system to be able to hold all of this unknown. And it's beautiful. It is a path to choose, and it is a path to choose in doses. You don't need to go all in, like you know, I'm going all in, but nobody needs to copy this. Maybe
Mm.
you have your wonderful corporate job right now and you have your family and everything is structured and it's beautiful and it's amazing and this is needed. One of your inner parts will say, no, no, you don't get rid of this now because my nervous system cannot handle this. And this is wisdom of the body. But in parallel, there's a calling. There's something in your heart that says, I want to go deeper. I want to connect more to my authentic truth. What is my wisdom sharing? What am I meant to create? Why am I here on earth? We were talking about this. These questions are deep soul questions. And this is how I started. This is what made me get out of corporate. Not because I didn't like my engineering job. I really, really loved it. I loved my engineering life. But life and my heart was saying, there's something else. You need to make this jump. And I jumped. And that's it. And now, 15 years or 16 years now after, I'm here and I'm sharing this with you. And that's it. Did I know this 15 years ago? Absolutely not. Like 000. I don't even know what's gonna happen next week. So it's really it's something, but I really encourage whoever has the call to start, to be surrounded by who's on this path. There are tools, there are people who can transmit the wisdom in authenticity.
Mm.
Yes.
Yeah, and it all comes down, I think, to choices, as you mentioned, and learn to live with discomfort. And we live in a very comfortable society, so it's easy to avoid discomfort. But as you said, I think the joy is also there. The benefits are great, and yeah, for sure, find someone like you who's done it, who's walked the path. And not everyone's transition is the same. We were talking about corporate, but it can be anything. I think that everyone has its own path, and just listen to the voice. And as we said when we began, just one thing, you can start with one thing. journaling or meditating or, doing embodiment. And that's the first step.
And
It's
totally. And for the ones who are more, let's say, more advanced on the path without being it positive or negative, right? What's the next step? What's the next edge? These are the questions that I have for you creators who are already on this path. What is this stretch that you've been avoiding? What is this whisper? And what is it creating? What is it creating for the world? What does your voice want to share? What new services can you create in the world? And like you say, Karine, it's not about just corporate. This is just an example because it's part of my personal story. But when we speak about transitions, it's transitions with a big T. It can be from one life situation to another, but it can also be from you are in your life situation. And these energies, like the eclipses right now, are like really asking for shedding. And there's a death that comes with this. And this is a transition too.
Yeah,
Yes.
for sure. And just living the death also. That's been part of the lesson that I've had to learn, and I'm sure you too. We know that we something is dying, and we're like, okay, but I want to go to the next phase of who I'm gonna be. But you also
Patience.
have to, yeah, exactly. Patience.
Patience, resilience, and listening. That's what I've been doing the whole week. And
Yeah.
I've been also stressed about, like, my body has been feeling stressed about it. I'm like, when is the answer? Because it feels like it's a left and right decision for me this week about certain topics that I'm not going to go into. But I'm like, okay, I need a decision now. No, you don't. No, you don't. The answer will come and your body will show you. Your body will show you, and nothing is absolute. Know also that the decisions that you're making, they're not absolute forever. There is this next organic step. What is this next organic action that is being whispered to you? And take it, surrender to it, and see then how your body gets filled by life force energy, because that's the point. Life gives back to us when we take the aligned step. It gives us back an energy, it fills us, and then we transmit more. Aho.
Aho. Aho.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you wanted to share? Or I think everything has been said. The last piece was really
Everything
good.
has been said. I'm grateful. Thank you for being here. Um, in the mystery, in the creation, in the service, whoever listens to this and wants to dive deeper in the body, create that space, and bring this intimacy with the wisdom inside and with your creations. There's the body temple, which is a deep immersion, semi-private group, or there's mentoring, which is exclusive access to me on a daily basis for people who are more advanced and who want to accelerate their path and have other eyes within their field with them.
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, Jennifer, for all the wisdom that you bring. And yeah, I'm really glad to reconnect.
Yes. Until next time, Karen, thank you so much. Thanks, everybody.
Until next time. Okay, bye.